Glad to have you join us on today's episode of Engendered on KAFTAN Television, a show where we discuss all issues revolving around the female gender. I am Chidinma Ufomadu.
Glad to have you join us on this program again. Just like Chidinma stated, this show will give you everything relating to the female gender. I am Pamela, Ajaero, and today we'll be having another interesting topic for you with our guest to do justice to the topic, but that will be after the break. To join us again shortly.
Glad to have you back on this segment of Engendered on KAFTAN Television. And before the break, Pamela and I rightly said that this is a show where we give you all issues revolving around the female gender. And like we always say, we're not selfish. It's what we're paid to do here. So, and I think we're in the mood for Christmas this period, because I'm seeing that we're having a touch of red on our on our dressing, and maybe green.
Last week.
Pamela did this last week.
I'll be giving you back to back. I cannot wait for December 25th, so I have to start. I started celebrating mine since December 1, so we'll keep celebrating like that.
I mean, I know there's a colleague of ours in the office. Her only way of celebration now is eating. Like she just wants to eat.
She will blow before January.
Because what I noticed right now is that a lot has gone on in this year 2023, and then people are trying so much to just keep themselves happy, no matter what. Exactly. Well, we have to always survive despite everything. And today on our episode of Engendered today, we're going to be giving you an interesting topic. This topic actually causes a lot of issue. It's something that is happening every day. When you open the newspapers, every day you're seeing one form of story or the other on this particular topic. And we're going to be doing this topic today with an expert.
Yeah.
When I tell you expert, I mean having a personal interaction with her. She told me she has reached out to almost 1 million ladies on cases like this. So when I'm telling you we have an expert, I'm very serious about that. And it's not easy carrying out all these activities. We are going to be doing this with the Executive Director of the Voice of the Girl Child and Vulnerable People Foundation. You can hear it, Voice of the Girl Child and Vulnerable People Foundation. Her name is Aisha Bello, and we're going to be discussing how we can tackle domestic violence in our homes. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It was a positive reply from you before the show started. She just responded, "Don't worry, we can figure out something." And it is really positive.
It's just something that is everywhere. I'm sure you know about it. If it's not happening inside your own house, maybe the next door. Something that is happening everywhere. So that's why I was like, okay, let's go.
Okay, and something that always happens to us on Engendered, I don't know if you say God is always on our side. We always find stories that correlate to our topic of discussion in the papers. So today we found the story on intimate partner abuse. Is in Daily Trust, page 17. Let me just read out the highlights first before I go into the story. It says, what they are exhibiting is abuse. Seek aid. Talk to someone who can help. When or if you can leave. There is nothing cute about abuse, nothing sexy about a man who is insanely jealous or possessive. You are not safe with such a man. Look at the statistics again. Someone in a relationship with you shouldn't be abusing you in any way. They shouldn't beat you, but they also should not be controlling you. That partner that keeps a tab on your every move calls you to make sure you are where you are, to make sure that you are where you said you will be, and always asks to speak with your friends you said you're visiting is not showing you love. So here we have a statistic. It says that according to UN, there's a report on it. It says, of all humans on earth, women and girls face the highest risks of being murdered by their intimate partners or other family members. It says 56% of female homicide victims in 2021 were murdered by their intimate partner or family member. It says intimate partner violence in sub-Saharan Africa exceeds the global average, with almost 46% of women in Africa being victims of lifetime partner violence. According to data, in this year 2022, 35 women were killed by their husband between January 2021 and March 2022 in Nigeria. Chances are, as they always are in cases like this, that the numbers are higher, and yet the numbers as they are shocking. And yet it doesn't appear that we are shocked enough. Young Nigerian women are warned on social media to distrust anyone who tells them that marriage isn't to be endured, that marriage isn't the be all and end all of life, that a husband cannot treat you like a footmat and still claim to love you. We were witnesses to the doctor whose journalist husband beat the living daylight out of, and some state governor and his wife held a press conference to publicly reconcile them because of marriage. I am sure that we know of people in abusive relationships who have been encouraged to stay for different reasons. Intimate partner abuse, they had to use pidgin at this point. They said no be today. No be today. For as long as we can remember, way before most of us or our generation are getting married, I always said that if a man should lay a finger on a lady, you should leave. Back then, someone said we are being naive if we say that we will learn once we have grown. Okay, it says, I still do not understand why anyone will grow to understand violence, especially intimate partner violence, to fear aqua. That's what it is here. And yet we have so normalized it that many of us accept it as part and parcel of being in a relationship. A university schoolmate asked back in the day how her then boyfriend or future husband was supposed to discipline her if he did not beat her up. Can you imagine? Let me say this clearly. It isn't a boyfriend's or a husband's duty to discipline another adult, one who is in a relationship with him. I said, I've even heard someone say that violence was a way of showing love because the making up after was always super. It says, Biko, no, it is not. It's not even a joke. In fact, someone in a relationship with you shouldn't be abusing you in any way. They shouldn't beat you, but they also shouldn't be controlling you. That partner that keeps a tab on your every move calls you to make sure you are where you said you will be, and asks to speak with your friends you said you are visiting to make sure you are not lying. It's not showing you love and it's not cute. That partner that is obsessively jealous, insists on having your password, who listens in on your phone calls without being invited to, who goes through your text messages, who scrolls through your telephone to sniff out whatever isn't showing you love. That partner does not want you to have friends. He isolates you, keeps you away from your family and old friends. He determines who you can and cannot see or talk to. He's not showing you love. That partner that insists on taking all decisions, tells you what to eat, what to watch, chooses what you wear as if you were a child. He decides where you can and cannot go. He's not showing you love. That partner that puts you down at every opportunity, tells you how stupid and worthless you are, refuses to let you shine, act like you're nothing without them, isn't showing you love. That partner that says if you leave them, they would hurt you or kill themselves, that blackmails you into being with them, that crushes you with their neediness, is not showing you love. What they're exhibiting is abuse. Seek aid. Talk to someone who can help. When or if you can leave, there is nothing cute about abuse. There is nothing sexy about a man who is insanely jealous or possessive. You're not safe with such a man. And for the young ladies, he's not showing you love that way. So now, this story is a brief summary of our topic of discussion today. But now we have it now, should I say, in the theoretical aspect? Or yes, and paper. So now I would like you to explain to us, because you've seen it face to face on field. So this thing of domestic violence or abuse, the way it is in the paper, is that how it is?
Yes.
Physically?
Yes.
So what would you...
What's that for me?
Okay, so how would you explain domestic violence?
You know, it's easy when you read it. Now we're just reading statistics, we're just trying to imagine.
Yeah.
So imagine seeing this thing, like, physically. Seeing somebody going through abuse. I don't know if you've ever seen one. Have you ever seen one? So if you see one, then you understand the effect of all these things, whereby the person who is supposed to protect you is actually the person harming you. So basically that is domestic violence, where the victim is still in the same environment with the person harming him. It's not necessarily, you know, I don't want to be like gender specific, but both partners, it can even be children. The domestic something we call it, so it's within the house. So it can even be the children, the house help, the wife, but you know, this newspaper is talking about like intimate partners. So definitely that is somebody that you claim to love. And I don't know how people define love these days. I don't know when you slap me and then I call it love, because really, as for me, I can't imagine somebody beating me and later in the night you want to touch me. How
exactly. How do you react?
Do you understand? Like, this is the way I'm just looking at it. So for me, I don't know how people think about it, but you know, when it comes to marriage, it's very difficult. Like, you will see women going through abuse. I don't know, maybe because of society, religion. They keep staying, and there's what we call trauma bonding. You will just be sticking up. You will see them, they hardly leave the abusive partner. They will still stick with them. Like, they keep giving themselves excuses, and maybe on the other part, the partner is manipulative and make you feel less of yourself. I've seen somebody that will tell you that even if you go, nobody will marry you. Look at how you're looking, you're fat, you're this, you now have 5 children. Imagine making you feel that way, and before you know it, you know, when they keep telling you something constantly, it's become like constant in your mind, and start feeling and saying, okay, maybe I'm like that. I met a friend too just recently, and she was telling me her story, and she was telling me what, like, she kept, what is it? If I go out, people will say, oh, you're nice, but if I come back home, she keep telling me terrible things. Like, am I that way? Do you get? So this is just some of the things that women go through. And it's all part of the domestic violence.
You know, you said that domestic violence can be on anybody, children, but if you check the statistics on that newspaper, it's showing that
it's talking about intimate violence.
And if you check down, you'll see that more females are victims. Why are we having more females as victims of this violence? Why is it so?
But men always, when you talk about, you know, when we talk about gender, gender-based, we're always like concentrating on women, and then we keep saying that they go through this.
Okay, let's focus on women.
No, but you're right.
Yeah.
And the simple reason I used to tell them is that check the statistics. We have more. Before you would see one, you would have seen 10. Even though they claim that some men used to keep quiet because of the society to say, no, be a man, you're a man, so they go through abuse. I know this abuse comes in different forms. Emotional, psychological, verbal. You know, there are what different forms of abuse. Even female genital mutilation is abuse. There are all this. So if you look at, okay, now let's look at the abuse, and let me even point it to you that yes, I think women, female genital mutilation is women. Yes. Even early marriage, women. Then when we talk about the emotional and the psychological, that I can, because there are some women too that they don't beat, but most of the time, statistics, thank God you're reading the statistics, you see that it's women. And again, forget about all that. It's difficult for you to say a woman is beating a man. See the energy now. Just look at it. It's not. It's really difficult. Women are soft. They are tender. We know they're just their natural nature. They are soft. They are weak. They are weaker than the men. So before you will see a woman that is stronger than a man, what we can say. So that's why the statistics is always about women, and that is why we gender-based we see more of. We talk about more about women than the men.
I'm talking about the different type of abuse, because I just see you mentioned emotional. There's a situation whereby a man might be, a woman might offend the wife, and the man will just keep mute. Like he will not open up. Like, this woman, you've offended me. He will just keep mute and just keep the woman on silent. I know most times people suffer from that. Is that also part of an abuse?
It's abuse. It is abuse. Like when you talk about narcissists, they do that. They will just stay off.
Yes.
No reason. Just like that. And they will leave the woman like that, blank. Then the worry for the woman, what is it?
Also,
that alone, do you know, it's a sickness? Like, it's a serious issue. What have I done? Did I do this? Have I done? You try calling him, maybe switched off. Just like that.
But he doesn't pick the call.
He will not pick the call.
Or he blocks you.
Exactly. So tell me, that alone is abuse. Because I know the torture the woman will go through for that period of time that the man is away. So not even saying a word, it's also an abuse. Because there's nothing wrong with communication.
Yes.
If there is good communication between you and your partner, your tone, even if I hurt you or I offended you, you can just come, oh, sweetheart, baby, you know how we do all this is. This is it. I'm not happy with this. Oh, okay, I didn't know. I'm sorry. That's what communication is all about. But where somebody just decide, it's a serious punishment, really.
It is.
It's even worse than the physical.
I'm telling you. For me, I always talk about it. The non-physical is even worse.
Okay.
Because I've seen a friend that has gone through depression. It's terrible. Like, I didn't even know that this is how it looks like. You know, we were just reading depression on books. Seriously, like, when I saw her, this is somebody that was full of life. Then we served like a long time ago. Yes. Okay. We used to call her pad, you know, all those kind of things. And just many years later, and I will come and see my friend in different, like, what happened? Waiting hard now. Life no hard like that. No, that's realistic. But the only that most times these women, sometimes you can't really force them out of that marriage. They have a say. The only thing that when that limit, you know, there is level of elasticity. When you reach that limit, you don't need anybody to advise. Because we try to intervene in a lot of issues like that. It's like I discussed with you some days back, and I was telling you, like, some of them will come and say, no, pastor say, mother in the church say, we have that. So you will see them still holding on to that kind of thing. Yeah? Okay, now we're praying not for them to die anyway.
Okay, if we're looking at it now, how can we establish the major causes of this domestic violence or abuse on the homes?
Well, for me, the first thing I used to feel like it's like upbringing, number one, because if a child grows in an abusive or toxic environment, it doesn't know love.
True.
It doesn't know love.
That's true.
So if you don't have something, you can't give. And maybe the only thing he understands is the abuse, is the opposite side of love. And to him, because sometimes when you sit down with these people, when it's part of their manipulation, you see them even sometimes crying, no, I love her, I love her. So you keep wondering,
like, so why are you hitting her?
So why are you hurting her? So I think it's just the way they are brought up. So for me, number one is the upbringing. That is one. Then along the line, there is trauma. Maybe the child went through some certain things while growing up. So that trauma affects his emotional or empathy part of him. Then another thing is drug abuse.
Okay, true.
Yeah, most of these men, maybe before you see the man hitting the woman, maybe he has gone out, maybe he's drunk or he took something, and that is when I don't close. He pounds on the woman. So we've seen issues like that. So there are a lot of factors. Then culture too. Sometimes, like when we talk about the female genital mutilation and the early marriage, it's culture. Yeah. So these are some of the reasons.
Okay, now how will we look at this now? Because some of I have people that I've heard them say, I'm the cause of the problem in the home. Maybe you see a particular lady, her boyfriend or her husband hits her, and she says, I'm the one that always mess up. He asked me to do the dishes, I didn't do the dishes, and stuff like that. So would we say now, in their own defense, would we say that is a reason for domestic violence?
It's a form of manipulation. That is what he made her to believe. Okay. It's just a form of manipulation. Yeah, because I know personally I've gone through something like that, and you know, they'll keep pushing the blame to you, even if maybe you hurt yourself. Maybe while you're he will still blame, like, you are the one. Why did you even put this table here? Why did you do it? They always have a way of pushing the blame to you and make you feel like, yes, maybe I'm the one. Yes, I've seen a woman like that, and like, maybe I'm the one. Maybe I'm not good. Maybe I'm not doing like that. She's always constantly doing things to change, to please the man, but he's never satisfied. So it's just a simple way of manipulation. He's just manipulating her, making her feel like, yeah, she's the cause, but she's not.
You know, from this discussion, I've understood now that we have the physical and non-physical form.
Yeah, sure.
Talking about this manipulation, and you spoke about people that just go blank on you without even explaining. So now, can we actually see now communication, lack of communication is also a contributing factor?
Yes.
Because looking at what we have said now, if a partner is not able to open up to the other partner about the issues in the home, it can also lead to a form of abuse.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's move away from that now. So you mentioned something earlier of some ladies that still stay back. Why do you think they stay back?
Well, there are a lot of challenges there. Number one, mostly if you see women like that decide to stay back, maybe they're full-time housewife. They don't have anything. Yeah, they don't have a job. They are totally depending on the man. Now, if they are facing this, the first thing in their mind, okay, where will I go? What will I do? Where do I start from? This is their major fears.
Yeah, true.
What will I do? So they decide, okay. I've seen a woman now that left an abusive home, and now she's thinking of going back because she can't manage the stress. She has 4 kids. You know, a lot. Okay, isn't it better I just go back? Can't manage them. How do I send these ones to school? How do I do this? So they start giving them. So these are some of the reasons. They don't have anywhere to go. They don't have any source of income. They are totally depending on the man, and that is why I feel that women empowerment is very key. Not because some of them, well, in the northern part of Nigeria, they don't even like a man to be, but not because they want to compete with the men, but just to be on the safer side. If you look at women that are really well-to-do, it's difficult. They get time. They don't get time. They have to stay back in seriously, because they can take care, they can do a lot of, and they move. But you see women that stay there, they're just giving themselves excuses.
All of those are saying, my children, what will happen to me?
Yeah, you know, most times when I go for interviews, like I want people to understand something, because even in our own homes, so for children's sake, just stay. I say, stop saying that. For children's sake, we can stay, and for children's sake, we can go.
Exactly.
It should be both ways. Just as we said, upbringing. Now, for the child's sake, staying in that violent home. I've seen a house where the children will be watching, they will beat. Come on, it's not a healthy environment for kids to grow.
Yeah.
So let's be realistic. It's not a matter of for the children. Forget that. At the end, then the children will grow, and you will still cry over these things that happen. And you would. So why not? For me, I used to say, save a generation. How do we save the generation? Okay, if the man is abusive, if we can remove the man and still have the children to be properly brought up to become good citizens tomorrow, responsible children, we have saved the generation. But if we decide to stay, all of us, maybe the woman will finally die, only God knows, in the process, and the children will become something else. What do you think they will become tomorrow?
You know, like you mentioned, Gerard, you mentioned something about Osinachi, the late Osinachi.
Yes.
Now, if she was saying because of her children, she's no more. And the
The
children are here
still alive
with the man.
Exactly.
Really bad justification.
So tell me, what gain? Imagine now, okay, this kind of man, let's assume he's not even in prison. I don't even know whether he's in, but I heard he's in prison. But let's assume, imagine that kind of man with the children alone. Just imagine what kind of life he would teach. Of course, these children will not know love. Let's be realistic, because they've never seen it, they've not feel it. What do you expect that when they grow, they will give their girlfriend or their wives? They don't know it, and that is when you see these authoritative men in the house. They will come back. You know how they do it. I don't want the men to feel like I'm just like. But we have it. We know those kind of men that do come. Like whenever they enter, the wife is like, she's already scared. What do I do? Remove this. He doesn't want this. He does. In your own home, that you're supposed to be free. That is the place that you need to relax, but you are not free. Once the husband is around, you don't even know where you are again.
Like you said, it's really upbringing that affects this. Because I've seen situations whereby, like you explained, the man walks into the house and everybody is running helter-skelter. And I dig through, as far a journalist, I just dig through to know what's up. And I understood that this man, growing up, did not grow up where there was love. No love. Despite he was having six sisters, and he's the only guy. At least the sister would have pampered him and the rest, but everybody went their separate ways because they lost their parents early. So there was no time. Nobody showed him this is how to show love to even the sister, not to even talk of any other person.
Like you common appreciation, they don't
know you should even appreciate, because if he doesn't even appreciate the children, if you see his children, very intelligent people, they don't mix up. It's not like he trained them. They are just fortunate that they came out well, but he never appreciated them because he doesn't know what those things look like. So everybody needs to work on themselves because of people coming under them. People are watching.
You know, some parents even forget that they are role model to their children.
Yes.
Because looking at it now, if you have a child around you, children don't listen to what you see. They just copy what you do.
Exactly.
Yes. So there was a story of a child that went to school and he was beating his classmate, a girl. And teacher was scolding him. Why was he doing that? He said, I see my dad Like he was like he couldn't speak properly, but like that daddy beats mommy at home, you get. So it just feels like it's just normal. I should always hit a lady, and if he grows up like that, eventually he's going to pass it on to his girlfriend and to his wife.
You just reminded me of a story. I went to a school, and this girl is around like 9 years, and I said, please, I want you guys to write stories. I want to see what you know and all those things. And she wrote a story on abuse. How a father is beating the mother and the son picked the same habits beating the sisters. From that story alone, like she did, the way she finished, like later the father changed and then the son changed, like that. It was shown that okay, the children copy what the parents are doing. And from her story, she must have experienced something like that.
Exactly.
That's a 9-year-old. Yes. For her to write a story, and to her she's writing a story how the father used to beat the mother and how the son copied it and was beating the sister. That is just
another story. I had somebody was sharing it on the radio that he was saying it that I grew up where the dad beats up the mom, but then he said growing up he mixed up with other people and he saw that my dad beating my mom is not the right thing to be done. So he said there are other good characteristics in his dad's life. He picked them, but that one beating the mom, he said, I will never try that in my life. That is another person that knows himself. In as much as we are coming from families,
how many do we have?
No, it's rare. Telling these positive stories will make other people want to. This is positivity. Let me pick it.
But this is something he told you, right?
Yes.
Go and ask his wife if he has a wife. There must be something. Seriously, like this way I'm telling you now, it's
not easy.
This kind of being authoritative and all that. Maybe he has it.
It's not easy. It must work on you.
You know, and another thing is that when some people will ask you, would you like to marry a man like your father? Or they'll ask a guy, would you like to marry a woman like your mother? That question is very tricky. That's one way you can get to know. In school, they did it to us once. Because they came to do a sensitization on abuse and girl stuff like that. So they asked, ladies, would you like to marry a man like your father? Some girls were saying no, other one said yes, some other people said yes. And the particular girl that said no, she said because my daddy sleeps with the maid. That was her own story, and she just said it like a child. So sometimes those kind of questions come out, and you see parents, and when you ask the children, would you want to marry a man like the father, and someone is thinking twice, there's a problem. There's a problem,
yes,
because there is no problem. If your mother is not complaining, you know that you have a sweet father in the home. But at that point when you start questioning, okay, I will select this one, I will take this one, and you know that there is a problem in the home.
Exactly.
Okay, I think I'm learning a lot now. I've learned that there is physical and non. I was not really aware of the non-physical abuse. I was particularly aware of the physical abuse.
So what will you call this sexual?
We're done. Alright, we'll go on a break now. We'll move on. Alright, viewers, we'll be going on a short break, and when we return, our phone lines will be open for you to make your contribution, and Engendered continues after the break. We'll be right back. You're welcome back to this segment of Engendered on KAFTAN Television. And if you're just joining us, you've missed the first segment where our guests actually told us that we have the physical and non-physical form of abuse. I just actually learned that today. I always knew of the physical form of abuse, and our phone lines are open for you to make your contributions to the show and your suggestions, whenever you have to say. If you want to share your experience with us, we're open to take your experience too. And before we went on the break, I think our guest was trying to tell us something about sexual abuse. When you raised that sexual abuse, what came to my mind is I want to ask you this. Is BDSM a form of sexual abuse? Because you see people tell you, you see a partner now, for example, you are in a relationship and you're celibate. For you to get married, after you get married, you discover that your partner likes BDSM and you're not used to it. BDSM, they will want to chain your hands to the bed, they want to use a whip on you and stuff like that. They call it, some people tell you that's what, no, some people will bite you. They'll tell you that's what turns them on and stuff like that. So now, please, is it advisable? Is that okay? First of all, let's establish: is it a form of abuse?
Okay. Well, you just said that's what turns them on. So on the other partner, is that person okay with it?
It is.
If it's okay with it, fine. They should keep beating themselves. You understand? But if the other partner is not okay, then it's abuse. Because you're doing to me, you're hurting me, something that I don't want, then it's abuse. But if the other partner, let's be beating ourselves, so I'm enjoying it. And I heard a story that a woman said, yes, she loved it when her husband beat her, or is it her boyfriend, very well before sex. So what would you say to that? I don't know. So me, I don't even understand that part of it. So if they are okay with it, then it's not abuse.
I think another thing we need to look at now is the mental health of people. Okay. Because this particular story you shared now, some people enjoy pain.
Yeah.
Some people enjoy pain.
It's the mindset.
No, there was a story I read it in the newspaper that the boyfriend, after they got married also, they started displaying some kind of attitude and started telling the man to hit her, like when BDSM, like when it comes to sex, it has to be really, really painful. And at that point he was scared. The man was the one sharing the story now, that he was scared that he was hurting her. But he discovered that when he did it the normal way, she was not satisfied and she was not happy until it gets really painful. And they went like that until her family members discovered that she had scars on her body. And they felt like the man was the one abusing her. But nobody could believe him when he said she requested or she demanded for that kind of thing. So I think the mental health of people too should also be checked, because now the lady is the one that wanted, and she couldn't get herself to admit to her family members that she actually requested for it. You get? But she was like, how would she be able to tell her mom or her dad that is what it is?
No, do you know what? Check those deeper research on the woman, and find out there must be something.
Something triggering.
Yes. It's not normal.
She went through something.
It's not normal.
It's not normal.
Okay, now we're talking about going through something. So, what would we say are the effects of this domestic violence or abuse on the victims?
Yeah, you just said one: mental health, trauma. It takes time to heal. You know, a lot of people, this mental health something, we don't really take it serious. But a lot of people go through a lot. I just told you that I saw a friend that is going through depression, and now it's just depression. Like I was just reading, we'll be finding depression, but until you actually meet the person going through depression, then you will know that. And there are other mental health challenges, but I think depression is one of the common one that we all know. So, like what my friend said, I'm losing myself. Don't even know what is it. She can't be productive. That's one thing I know. When you're going through all this form of abuse, even if you are working, you go to the office, you'll be looking like you can't give your all. Ordinarily, if you are to be your normal self, what you can achieve, even if it's school, you might not be able to finish. I've seen somebody like that. She couldn't continue because everything, you get tired of everything, and that is when suicide comes in.
It's the height of it.
That is when suicide, because you start seeing and say, why am I even living?
What's the essence of living?
This life is just, before you know, that negative thought will come to you, and then suicide comes. That my friend I was talking about, she attempted suicide like twice. But God said she will be alive. The last time I spoke to her, she said she's just waiting that let God just take her life. So tell me, this is just some of the things that people go through, and that is why the non-physical abuse for me is worse. At least the physical one, you hurt yourself and you see the healing, you're fine, you go to, but this
is a silent killer.
Not even everyone will know that you're going through something like that.
Yes.
Not everyone.
You've actually said a lot about this domestic violence, but I want to ask, is there a way it can be eradicated from the society? Like, can a marriage ever work? Like, a long-lasting marriage?
Now people say marriage is a scam.
Because truly, since last week I've been hearing a lot of different marriages.
I'm telling you, married every day still.
So I want to know, apart from this domestic violence now affecting marriage, can marriage ever just last?
Yeah,
like,
but we still have good marriages. We still have people with stories that will tell you that yes, our marriage will spend years, and though we know that is not completely perfect as it is. There is always a problem, but there are still some that are manageable. So please don't be scared. We're just talking about abuse, and that's why we're talking about all these other parts of the abuse. But there are still marriages that work. Even though with the present generation, I'm seeing there is a lot that needs to be done. A lot. Like what? Please? Now, for example, we were saying, okay, women should be empowered, at least get a job, go to school, all those kind of things. But my fears here is that seeing the way women now are grabbing these opportunities, going out, struggling, is changing the narrative, kind of making the men to be lazy. You will see a woman now with her husband, but she's the one taking up the responsibilities of the house. That is what is happening today.
Tell me about Abuja men.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, this is another fears I'm having, that okay, the women, okay, less empowerment, let women be this, let women be that. Okay, the women are like this, but the men are now becoming lazy. This is not the kind of life we want to live. You can't expect a woman, both cultural, religion, naturally, for a woman to carry that burden and expect that woman to still be okay. I know of a man that will sit at home, doesn't even have a job. In the morning, she will be the first person to wake up, take care of the kids, bath the kids, take them to school. From there, she'll move to the office. He's at home, relaxing, and he expects sleeping. He won't wake up maybe till 10, 11. Can you imagine? He will sit down, watch TV. Then in the evening, when she's rushing to come back, she said as she's getting back, she will just remove her veil, drop it in the sitting room, and move to the kitchen. Look at the kind of pressure. Now, going to the kitchen. Yes. And when she's going to the kitchen, that's when he will bath and say, let me just go out. That is when he will go out to relax. She'll go to the kitchen, prepare all the food, prep the kids, blah, 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 all those things. Later in the night, she wants to rest. The man will still wake her. He has all the energy and strength. At home, he will still wake her up. That is my right, is my right. Yes. That's what it is. Is my right, is my right. So tell me, this, do you think that woman will be okay? Psychologically now, let's forget. She can't be, no, you can't give. See, if we don't follow, but I don't know what the, let me put the religious ways, like the even Islam has a kind of pathway. Women are not, but when you try to change what God talk, there is consequences.
Yes, exactly.
This is the consequences we are seeing now.
Okay, now looking at this particular one, it reminds me of a story that I read, and from that story I picked up that there was a form of abuse called financial abuse. Yeah, because economy. So this story now is relating to that. It just reminded me of that. Yeah. Please, can you explain further for our viewers to understand what that financial abuse is?
Yeah, this is a situation whereby a woman, she's with the husband, but when it comes to money, he won't give her. She's just there. She's just there. Imagine you are staying, maybe you're not even working. Some are even working, the husband will collect the salary. I don't know if you've heard about that. Yes, he's the one in charge of the salary. He can even the only thing he will, he will just remove it, take transport every day. When she need maybe 5 naira, 10 naira to buy one or two things, he won't give her. That is an abuse. She's just there, nothing. Going through a lot.
But you know, there are people who do these things, but they don't even know they are abusing their partners. Because this one you just stated now.
Yes. Okay, let it be the other way around. Let me collect all the money from you.
That's why you just stated now. I've seen that scenario somewhere. But the man does not see it as.
So we feel that the woman doesn't need anything.
He feels it's his charge. Anything the woman wants,
he's going to spend money.
No, like you must get from me. Okay, there are people who are
let me ask you something now. Forget about, let's say, partners. The two of you. Today you come and ask her for money. Tomorrow you ask her. What do you think? Now it's 2 ways. She will start getting tired. And when you come tomorrow, maybe she will scream. And apart from that, this respect we're talking about, what do you think will happen? She will start looking at, in fact, she will send yourself. That is how it is. Then the gap will be like this. She will just call you, please go and buy food there. And you too, because you are always coming to her. That's how you collect. You are totally becoming a slave. And that is where some of this abuse is started. And that is why most men control that financial aspect. Mostly when a woman is not doing anything, she's depending on the man. they use that a lot to frustrate you. Sometimes you want to go and visit your family. Maybe all you need, maybe your family are still staying in Abuja, you need just 200, 500. He might decide not to give you. Please don't disturb me. How will you feel? Or they call you that your mom is not feeling fine, she's in that hospital. You need to go. You don't even have 5 naira. I don't know if you understand what
Yes.
And when you call him, please, I'm busy. So, and you will be in that house, imagining your mom in the hospital, you are just sitting down waiting for the man to come back. So these are some of the situations that, women find themselves. And that is why, again, there's another problem ahead. The problem is, not every woman can remain that way. Then you start seeing cheating. Will start coming in, penetrating to the family. Women that are in toxic relationship or marriages have some threat of cheating. Because maybe every time your husband is telling you, and you come to the office and say, oh, you're looking good. Tomorrow, you're looking good.
Someone is giving the attention.
You're giving you the attention. So what you say, I'm having a lot of fears around all these things. That's why we just need to understand. We just said Voice of the Girl Child. That's the name of our organization. But really, after some time, going to the field, okay, whenever I'm doing a project, I'm not just like, okay, just the girls. I tend to bring the boys and the girls.
Yeah. Everybody needs it.
They need it. They even need to understand that right we're talking about, okay, right of the girl child, right of women. They need to know it at that age. That's the only way we can correct these things. And why I'm going for the girls is like, we want to help women. But how do we do it? We need to start from the roots. If we can groom these young girls, then by the time they become ladies, women, we're good. If we can groom, and that is why even the men, like I keep challenging them, we spend a lot of time talking to the girl child. We spend a lot, even at home. You are the girl. Hey, even the way she said, you are a girl. Do this. You are a girl. What about the boy child? Even we women are some of the problems. You have already, there is this disparity even within the kids. If there's a boy, and the boy still seeing himself as a king.
Like in my house, my dad would say, my brothers cannot go to the kitchen to take food, that they are men.
So that is the narrative that is presented to him. And he will grow up with it. For example, he will grow up with it, and he will not, and he will do that to his son too. If he say, what are you doing in the kitchen? Leave the kitchen. Kitchen is not meant for you.
And kitchen is for everybody.
So everybody is. Seriously. So we have that. This is the kind of narrative like we start, and that's why even women, I keep telling them that, how do you train your child? You're talking about abuses or your husband. Make sure if you have a boy child, train him well.
Yes.
Fortunately, I have all girls. I have 3 girls. Wow. If not, that boy for suffer. Not suffer, but I would have used him as a sample for myself. Yes. But since I don't, I advocate for it. How well do you groom that boy child? Don't always make him feel superior over the girls. They are the same. Mostly at this stage. They are the same. He can wash his clothes. He can wash his plate. He can also enter the kitchen and prepare his meal.
Yes.
That is why you see grown-up men, when their mothers come to the house, they will still be treating them like... I used to tell my mom that whenever my brother comes home, and she will see her preparing how his house always yes. That's the way. If he's sitting there, I will sit there. I'm waiting for my own. Because I'm a woman doesn't mean that I should not be treated the same way. So when I say that, she knows what I'm saying. She will just laugh. Please stop treating us differently. I would just say, even though she will not do that particular thing, but I think it's just culture, and over time it becomes a norm. Because she will always do it, even when I tell her, please stop doing that. Because you're making us feel as if
you're lesser.
Exactly.
You know, there's another thing that came to my mind now, talking about culture and society, and still regarding sexual abuse. Now, there's a story that I read of a particular lady. She was complaining, and her complaint was this: she just finished school and she was getting married. You know, all this pep talk you have with your mom now. So before she, the night before her wedding, her mom just told her, oh, never say no to your husband when he asks for sex. Always satisfy him and things like that. And she said, okay. She got into the marriage with that mentality that she should always satisfy him. Please, I want you to tell us, is there is there a normal dose of sex or an abnormal dose? Because now the problem that she wanted to divorce the man. I don't know if she was able to divorce him.
Why?
Because she felt like he was demanding so much for sex, and for her it became torture to her. But the man felt it was just his normal self.
Right.
Yes, and it is right. She should never deprive him of sex.
Yes.
You get so. As to her, she kept on saying it that this is sexual abuse to her. So I don't know. I'm sorry to ask this question, but then it's going on in a lot of homes and people don't know how to talk about it. They don't know how to explain it. You hear ladies say things like, "After now he'll come back in night and tell me to turn and ask me to open my leg," and stuff like that. So how do we balance this thing of sex in the home or in a marriage?
You know, God created us differently. Just like the man that you're just talking about, he always demand for sex. We have women too that demand for sex. It's both ways, and that is why it's always good to get your match. Kind of, as I said, it's all about understanding between the couples. Sex is something for me. I don't think it's something like food I just want to eat. It comes natural. That's how it's supposed to be. If you have a very understanding home and all that, even when you're tired, you can tell, "Man, I'm tired," and you will understand. That's how it's supposed to be. Yeah. But whereby in this case, where she feels like it's torture, then it's torture. She's not okay with it. They are not compatible in that manner, and it's okay to divorce. It's very okay.
In addition to what you have said, like you said, understanding, communication also have a role to play. If two couples can sit down and talk, I like being touched this way, do it like this, just talk it, say it the way you like it, so your wife can understand. Your wife, say it the way you like it, so your man too can understand, and do it the way you like it. Most times people don't talk about this things at all. That's the problem. But it's just culture. Culture
that religion.
But it's
mostly on the women's side.
Yes, if you talk about it, you are exploit, you are they write you off, which is irrelevant.
Even with their husbands, you won't see it.
Even when you try to talk to the girl child, sometimes you hear things like, "Please don't spoil my daughter for me." But your daughter already knows things that we didn't want to know.
Exactly.
You get that kind of stuff. So I think our time is coming to an end. So in the summary, please, can you tell us ways that we can use to curb these acts in our society? Because I cannot say we can stop it. It cannot be totally eradicated because it's still happening. So what are the ways whereby we can curb this particular type of activities in our society?
Number one, ladies, those that are not married, they should know themselves, what they want. Be confident of. Know yourself well. It's only when you know yourself that yes, you can face anybody. That's one. Then number two, this upbringing I'm talking about, because we said some of these things start from the house. So you need to train your kids well. They should grow in a very loving environment. We have parents that they still have misunderstanding, but they will never allow the children to know.
Yes.
These are part of ways that we should. Then even the religion we're talking about, once somebody have at least a level of fear of God, sometimes that is what is holding them down. I can't beat you, I can't hit you, I can't hurt you. Not because of anything, but because they believe that it is bad and they can't do it. So these are some of the things. Then also, the ladies, they need to understand these red flags. You cannot, you start seeing these red flags even while dating. It's hot-tempered. I can manage. Let me just manage it, because the time you will react bad, and later you come back and beg you sorry, you know you caused it, blah blah blah, then you will still understand the red flags and take note of it, because most of us will just rush into marriage. My friend is getting married, let me go and join, all those kind of things, and by the time you enter 1 month, 2 months, your eye go do like this. I'm telling you.
Thank you so much. It's been an interesting session with you. Thank you so much. So we had our discussion with Aisha Bello, and she's the Executive Director of Voice of the Girl, Child and Vulnerable People Foundation. And please, let's be careful. Ladies, guys, if you're going through this, please come out and speak. There are people out there that are willing to help you. And for the ladies, no, not for the ladies only now, both gender. If you notice that maybe your partner, there are some ladies that will say, my boyfriend is nice to me, but he scolds other people, he beats other people one day to get to you. It's harsh to other people, one day to get to you. You notice that you go to a bar or a restaurant and he's rude to the waiters and stuff like that. One day it will actually get to you. So please, like our guest has said, pick out the red flags. Don't let your emotion lead you into trouble. I remain Chidinma Ufomadu.
I am Pamela Ajaero. Be careful.
Please, girls, let's be fast with our chores.